Auzubillahi minash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. आप लोग देख रहे हैं Islamic Finance and Properties. Now today we have a very, very interesting guest. He's an entrepreneur. He is an educationalist. And he's also very much involved in a lot of charities as well. Let's just introduce him to you. His name is Tamkin Riaz. Thank you so much, Tamkin, for coming to our studio.
Well, thank you for the invitation.
And seeing, actually, do you know what? I mean, the concept is that we want to try and, you know, a lot of people, especially people like yourselves, who've given so much to the community in terms of charitable work, education, and business-wise as well. So all these successful people, we want to try and sort of bring them across, and maybe you can actually motivate some of the community in regards to, if Tamkin can do it, they can do it. Okay, just a bit about yourself. I mean, you're originally from Pakistan.
Yes.
And just give us a little bit of a life story about yourself. So when did you sort of come over? Where in Pakistan are you from? Did you spend any time in Pakistan? What's Tamkin Riaz's story?
Thank you. Yes, I was born in Pakistan, Lahore.
Okay.
And my family was assigned here in 1964. So we came over then.
And how old were you at that time?
I was 4 years old when I was...
Okay, so
I was
you don't
toddler. I don't really remember.
You don't remember Pakistan?
No. And then the first time I actually went back to Pakistan after was 1976 when I was 16.
Okay,
so
wow.
It was my very first time I went back to Pakistan.
It must have been a cultural shock, though.
It was a cultural shock because I didn't really speak the language. It was very, very hot. It was alien to me, let's put it that way. It was
so you
alien.
went in the wrong months, I suppose. You know, June, July, what month did you?
Yes, I think it was August. I think it was the summer holidays.
All right, okay. So August is when it usually sort of tapers down.
But even then, I was very hot. So, yeah. So being born in Pakistan, but lived here all my life, it's a shock. But then after that, I went back very, very regularly, once after 76. Every 2-3 years we used to go back regularly.
So you got the Pakistani sort of
I got the bug.
Yeah.
I got the bug, the food, the people, the culture, our roots.
Yeah.
So really, it was our roots that really helped. And then, I saw how people lived, the rich and the poor, and how everyone got on. And actually, everyone helped each other.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a welfare system there. But if you employ and have servants, you are responsible for them.
Yeah. This is back in the 80s, isn't it?
Yes.
You're talking about the early 80s to sort of mid 80s.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Okay. Yes. So really, when I saw that there isn't, if you don't work, you don't get paid.
No.
You don't have money.
No, but there isn't a social system. I mean, there is a social system, but it's very much, the social system is very much the population, not the government that's actually...
It's not the government, unfortunately, yes. But the government tries its best, it's limited resources. So then you become responsible for everyone who works with you and under you. And you help people out.
Okay, so that was your first taste of Pakistan when you were 16?
Yes, 16.
Technically speaking, okay. And you spent some time there?
Yes.
And then you went back every year, kind of sort of revisiting your roots?
Absolutely.
As to say. Okay.
Because that was long overdue.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. And then sort of, what did you do here? What was your sort of background here? How were you,
well,
what was life like in
I went to primary school here in Fulham.
Okay.
And then I studied in secondary school, was in Southfields.
Okay.
And then I went to Kingston College.
Okay.
And my first job was at Kingston Polytechnic and then Middlesex Polytechnic. So in the 80s, I started in education. And I've never looked back.
Okay, so when you say your first job, what was your job?
I was a trainee technician
at
age 20 in the Department of Electronic Engineering and Computer Science at Kingston Poly.
Okay.
So I was there for 4 years, got trained up as a technician.
Okay.
And then my second job was I was a computer technician in Middlesex Polytechnic.
Okay.
Yes, so 4 years it took me. And then I became a computer technician.
Wow.
And in those days, computers were very, very different, let me put it that way.
Well, no, I mean, there were no mobile phones.
No mobile phones.
They were technically speaking, I mean, if you had a computer at home, you'd be like, regarded as someone, and now everyone's carrying their own computers, so it was quite a vision in terms of, you know, getting into computers. Okay, so you did your computers and you sort of became the technician, and then what happened after that?
Then I slowly, over the years, for over 25 years, reached the top of my profession.
Okay.
And when you reach the top, there's nowhere you can go apart from senior management.
Yeah.
But what happened was that they could employ 2 people on my salary. So they nicely asked me, would you like early retirement? And by the way, we will give you a lump sum.
And early retirement was at what age?
45.
Wow, okay.
So
I think that's pretty much an ambition for...
20 to 45, so 25 years. Not bad, eh?
Well, 25 years and,
Yes.
and you know, early retirement, that's actually pretty good. That's pretty decent.
But then when I got my money, I had friends who were in property. And they said,
Okay.
don't waste your money. Put down 10% deposits on property and watch it grow.
Okay, and this is back in what year? Are you...
To 2025.
Okay, so sort of when you started buying these properties,
Oh,
when did you retire?
20, so that was 1980. So 20 years would be 2005.
So in 2005,
I got into
you ended
property.
up with, and you started sort of, and you know, that's one of the things that we sort of talk about to the general community is, I always say, look, you know, if you've got the money and you make the investments, go ahead and make the investments. But property, okay, so you went into property.
Yes, yes.
Right, okay. Okay. We're going to talk about that for
a little while, yeah.
in a little while in terms of how that part started and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But I wanted to sort of pull back a bit and talk to you about Tamkin Riaz, the man. I just want to find out a bit about yourself. Okay, so you...
So I retired,
so
and then I didn't have much to do.
Before the retirement,
Yes.
I mean, just a lot before the
Oh,
retirement.
gosh.
Okay. So what happened in regards to... So tell me...
Well, I got married.
Okay, right, okay.
I got
good.
married. We had 3 children.
Married is good.
Marriage is good. And now we've been married 45 years, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah,
After 45 years.
Yeah.
3 grown children, 6 grandchildren, mashallah.
Mashallah, mashallah.
Age 2 to 16.
What, the grandchildren?
Yes.
Mashallah,
Yeah, grandchildren 2 to 16.
Okay.
Obviously, my children are in their 40s.
Right, okay, yes, of course, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so you know, sort of, you know, obviously being brought up here, was it an arranged marriage? I mean, how did that work out? I mean, you know, it must have been...
Yes, it was an arranged marriage. She was my relative. And there was 2 years difference. And in those days, in the 80s, they said, oh, he's this age, she's this age, they look compatible, right, those 2 are going to get married. And that was it.
Okay,
That
okay,
was
so
it
you
in
had
those
to...
days.
Yeah, okay.
Having said that, when my brothers and sisters saw that I got married, they never wanted to get married.
What age did you get married at?
I was about 20, my wife was 18.
Okay, so you were 20. That's actually quite young,
Yes,
isn't it?
yes, yes.
That is actually quite young. Okay, so you got married at 20, and
Yes.
obviously you've been with her ever since, mashallah.
Yes.
Okay, and you know, sort of totally an arranged marriage.
Totally arranged, yes.
Okay,
yes.
and you know, being brought up here, and you know, sort of
Well, you
accepting
know,
that sort of thing, was that?
we're
that must have been-
obedient.
was
We're
that-
obedient type of children. My family background was, you know, when your parents and the elders said something, they knew best.
Okay, okay.
And we were brought up like that. We weren't rebels or anything. We just took it for granted because that's all we saw.
Okay.
That was
Well,
the
that's what you
environment we
must-
lived.
Yeah,
That was
okay.
our environment.
Yeah.
That we respect the elders,
Yeah.
which is very lacking now, as you know.
It's very rare. It's very rare.
And
that's
obviously
what-
family unit and everything. Family unit, everyone living together, helping each other out. So this is where my basics came from, my fundamentals came from.
Okay, so just to find what sort of profession was your father in? Because obviously he must have been there.
Yes, he was an auditor, an accountant. He worked in Pakistan in the Auditor General's office.
Okay, okay.
And then he was transferred here to the Pakistan High Commission to do the accounts, military accounts and things. So he came over through that route.
And then ever since then he never
Yes.
sort of looked. So you didn't actually go back to Pakistan with your parents. How old were you at that time?
I think I must have been about 45, 50.
Okay.
Yes, so my parents went back, they bought a house there. They were settled there, you know, because all of their friends and family were there. So they came and went, obviously, every 6 months, a year, but they enjoyed life there. parents enjoyed Pakistan very much. And although we didn't go back with them because we had our own families here and children, we obviously visited them in Pakistan or in their house as well.
And were you there sort of every year, and did you sort of
every couple of years? Every couple of years.
There was a home there as well.
Yeah, there was a home for us there. So all we had to do is buy our tickets, and that was it.
Okay.
Flights, because we had somewhere there, and obviously our parents pampered us and the grandchildren and children. So yeah.
And so, how did you get into sort of the education part of things as well? So was that from early on, or because you said that you were into sort of...
Yeah, I was at Kingston College studying, and what happened was a job came round, that there's a job going as a technician, trainee technician in Kingston Polytechnic.
What does a trainee technician do? Sorry,
well, a technician, we were in the lab, so I was in the electronic engineering and computer science laboratories for degree students.
Okay, okay.
So we had to make sure that all the equipment they needed was there for them to do their experiments.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and make up the wiring and the boards and give them the components they needed for their projects.
Yeah, okay, okay.
And obviously we had to know what the projects they were doing and the electronics they needed, and we would help them with their project work as technicians. Because usually they don't have time as students, you know, to get all the equipment. So we used to set up equipment and everything for them, like laboratories.
Okay, okay. And, you know, just to sort of touch up on your sort of family background as well, obviously your father was in the AG office and he came to the High Commission.
Yes.
What about your kids? I mean, did you instill this sort of,
yes,
you know, the education and that sort of thing in them as well?
Yeah, yes, my daughter used to...
Was that a challenge as well? Sorry.
No, it was fine. My daughter actually wanted to do education, and we tried to persuade her not to, but she went into education, she became a teacher. So she took that route. Both my sons, one's in business, and the other one is in Ministry of Justice. So mashallah, they did their degrees, they all got married, and mashallah, they have children. So, you know, mashallah, we were very lucky and blessed. So we were very lucky and blessed, alhamdulillah, with our children, with our grandchildren, and inshallah with great-grandchildren.
Okay, inshallah, absolutely,
Inshallah.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's a sort of a recap in terms of who Tamkin Riaz is. And that's what I really wanted to get to as well, is who you are, where your inspiration came from, and you know, just a bit of a background. Now, you said you know, sort of visited Lahore quite a lot, and there was a lot of poverty you saw,
yes,
and you saw the difference between, but then at the same time, a lot of, I mean, this is back in the 80s.
Yes, 80s.
Is there a stark change in the system now, or is it still the same, or what's your opinion on that?
The Pakistan itself, when we generally go to Lahore mainly, it's fantastic. Lahore has changed so much, it's unrecognizable actually, the big tower blocks and everything. But poverty's still there, but it's much, much cleaner as I remember it back in the 80s.
Okay, so Lahore is cleaner now?
Much, much cleaner.
Really?
That I have found it is much, much cleaner, especially where we are and where we visited. Obviously, Islamabad is fantastic, Karachi. I've actually traveled from the bottom of Pakistan all the way to the top. And
Okay.
what I haven't told you is I actually got into charity work via Al Khair and Imam Qasim.
Okay.
What happened was he set up a TV station, and then as soon as he set it up, I did some programs there with him. We had a problem in Haiti. There was a Haiti earthquake. So we went to Haiti, myself and the team.
Okay, so you were there and you sort of visited
3 times.
the disaster that it was.
So there were 10,000 Muslims in Haiti and 3 mosques. And unfortunately, the mosques were also affected.
Okay.
And so we went out and helped rebuild those mosques and also give charitable donations to the Haitian people.
So that was the Al Khair sort of
Al Khair
organization that
Yes.
actually went there
Yes.
and they rebuilt the mosques
Yes.
and also helped
The general population as
general
well.
population.
Yes.
And it, obviously, you know, sort of with us, it doesn't really make that much of a difference whether they're Muslims or,
No, it
or
doesn't.
another religion. I think it's more a case of humanity, isn't it?
It was humanity, but because of our background, we also wanted to help the mosques because
Of course, absolutely.
So we
that's
helped
a,
those.
That's a must.
And we went back 2 or 3 times, and then the following year, the Japanese tsunami came.
Right, and were you,
Haiti and then
Al Khair was there,
Al
and you were
Khair
there
was
with
there.
Al Khair?
With Al Khair. And we were one of the only organizations allowed to go to Japan because they were turning people away. But when we applied and they saw who we were and what we have done in the past, we were given VIP treatment in Japan
Okay.
to go and help with relief work.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, sort of background checks and so on and
Yes.
so forth, I think that's probably pretty much what the Japanese government must have been doing.
Because
don't
they
wanna
wanted,
let-
they said we can manage, but
Yeah.
they let us in. We went,
And that must have been
oh my gosh.
I mean, you know, just tell me about the tsunami, because we've all
You've seen
seen documentaries about the tsunami, but you and Al Khair were on the ground at that
Yes.
time, sort of, you know, sort of taking everything in. The devastation was...
there was mud everywhere, mud, because
Right.
of the tsunami. Everything was muddy, everything had to be cleaned. It was absolutely, I can't describe it. But when we were giving aid out, which really affected me,
sorry, what kind of aid was it?
this we were giving out food,
Okay.
nappies, medicines and things. And I remember we were giving people nappies and food, and I couldn't understand what they were saying. So I gave this lady a packet of nappies for her children. And she said something, and then she gave me the packet back. And I said, no, it's for you. She said, no. And then she took one nappy only and gave me the rest back. And then the interpreter told me, she said, no, other people need it as well. This will do me for my baby for today.
Wow.
So I was taken aback. Because I have been to other places.
Where they would take.
They would
especially
take
when
and
the
say,
ships
give me
are
a
down.
few more.
Yeah.
Give me a few boxes. So the people were fantastic. The Japanese people were really, really nice.
And that's a cultural thing, isn't
It's
it?
a culture. And they were very, very thankful.
Yeah, and that's how Muslims should be.
Yes.
I think that's. I mean, sometimes you look at things, and you think, well, actually, you know, even the fact that, you know, and I see this so many, you know, in our religion, cleanliness is such a massive part.
It is.
And I'm not just talking about just personal hygiene. I'm talking about, you know, sort of around as well. And for us to actually drop litter on the floor, you know, you're sinning for the sake of sinning.
Yes.
I think, you know, if it takes 2 minutes or 1 minute to actually put it in a bin. And in our countries, especially, you know, sort of in Pakistan, certainly, but I've seen, you know, sort of other countries as well, other nations where, okay, it's just litter and somebody else can pick it up. And itni choti si baat hai. But, you know, so much can be done by just, you know, changing yourself.
Yes.
And if people find out, and if people are educated to see, well, actually Islam doesn't allow us to do that. But, you know, you see these in countries like Japan,
Absolutely.
where, you know, sort of they are technically living like, you know, the way that they're doing things, is taking one nappy. Okay, so that was your experience of Japan.
And then Pakistan floods happened.
And that was massive as well. This was
That
back
was
in,
massive.
what year was it?
This was 2009, 10 and 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 and 11.
Okay.
So Haiti, Japan, then Pakistan floods. And then I went to Pakistan.
There must have been sort of a stark difference. So again, Al Khair was in Pakistan.
Yes, very
And-
big in Pakistan.
And, you know, we were obviously helping people. What sort of help did you provide the Pakistanis?
Well, we from here, we took a lot of tents and money because you could buy things. Although there were Pakistan floods were terrible, you could still purchase things from other areas in Pakistan.
Right, okay.
So a lot of money. We did delivery. We actually took an ambulance as well. We bought an ambulance. So we started in Karachi and we went all the way up to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. I was there for about 3 months
Okay,
at one
wow.
stage.
Okay.
And I think I went back 3 or 4 times. and I set up the offices there. So
The Al Khair offices.
The Al Khair offices and the staff at that time, which is still, mashallah, going strong now. Although
Yes,
I have,
alhamdulillah.
alhamdulillah. And Al Khair is very well known in Pakistan for all its good work.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Mashallah.
So it was sort of food and tents, but
We built houses as well.
Okay, so you built houses.
We built houses as well in Pakistan, 1-bedroom houses, 2-bedroom houses. And we're still working there today. We built whole villages. We made villages there, medical camps. We had the biggest mobile hospital in Asia, made out of, what do they call these, containers.
Okay, so you...
So Al Khair was all involved in, it did a lot of work, millions and millions of pounds worth of work in Pakistan, mashallah.
Right, okay. And obviously that's... But did you... Obviously Al Khair was massive in regards to, you know, sort of being there with the community and helping rebuild a community and
Yes.
and the initial help of food and water and all that sort of stuff there as well.
Yes.
But you know, in the long run, they've certainly helped out as well.
Yes.
With that. But did you also see that there was other help coming in as well from the normal?
The very rich people in Pakistan, the army, everyone gave container loads of aid, and people were very, very kind to each other, I must say. We had a lot of people from Turkey turn up as well, from Turkey and all over the world. People came and helped.
The distribution must have been, you know, that must have been a challenge itself.
Yes, the logistics was very challenging because of the roads were not there. They've been washed away. Al Khair had boats as well. They bought boats so they can deliver the goods.
I'm going to stop you on the boats for a second, simply because we have to take a short break. After the break, we'll be talking more to Tamkin Riaz. Shukriya.